Hello, welcome back to Hobby News Daily. I'm still Danny Black, but today I have a special guest joined by Chris Ivy, director at Heritage Sports, Heritage Sports for Heritage Auctions. That was very smooth to start. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well. How are you, Danny?
Clearly a cup of coffee short this morning. Yeah, this is what happens when I volunteer to do the early carpal. Um, I was so excited to have you, and I'm not even going to pretend that I didn't chase right after you as soon as I saw the story break. I really wanted to get into some exciting news that you guys kind of brought to light yesterday. You have a special item coming out for auction, the 1932 Babe Ruth jersey that he wore for the called shot. That's the elevator pitch, but there is so much more to this story. First of all, what's the provenance on the actual jersey itself? Because I know it's got an interesting history, and what have you guys found out recently that's kind of changed this story?
Well, so the last time it sold at auction was back in 2005 with Gray Flannel, and they knew at the time that it was a 1932 Babe Ruth game worn jersey, obviously, but it had not been photo matched at that point. So, the same owners owned it since that time. And I'll go back even before that. This was originally picked up by one of the original owners of Gray Flannel Auctions. He went down to Florida, met with someone that was related to a gentleman that used to play golf with Babe Ruth. And that's how the jersey actually came into their family's possession, was directly from Babe Ruth through a golfing friend.
Can we say that was the greatest golf bet ever won?
I mean, it's going to be one of them at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah.
Here, but yeah, there's so it actually entered the hobby around 1990, and as I understand it, originally was a private sale. Had sold privately to a collector who held on to it and then consigned it back to Gray Flannel in 2005, where it sold publicly. And then it's been in a private collection since that time. And then just this year, I mean, that collector always believed it was the called shot jersey. But just earlier this year, it was submitted to MyGray, where they confirmed the photo matches that it is indeed Babe Ruth's game worn jersey from Game 3 of the 1932 World Series, in which he pointed to the outfield. Still debated if he was pointing to the outfield or to the Cubs dugout, obviously, but that debate is part of what makes this great and part of the reason we're still talking about it 100 years later, right? So as far as sports collectibles go, I think it's the greatest piece of sports memorabilia that's out there. And I think at the end of the day, the price realized will prove that as well.
Without a doubt, to me, it's on the Mount Rushmore of things I've ever even heard about, much less seen come up. Now that it's photo matched, to be fair to everybody involved, the technology on photo matching has just gotten a million times better.
There's no doubt.
This may not have been possible 20, 25 years ago, compared to the technology we have now to be much more certain. Is that fair?
Well, photo matching has certainly come about, the last few years and continued to gain traction and momentum among collectors. There's always been, experts providing their opinions,
Sure.
and that's the case with this jersey as well, making sure it matches other examples from the era, making sure the stitching is correct, it's all original, those type of things. But yeah, photo matching is something that it's really with the advent and the growth of the internet and getting these digital images and access to more photographic images, so that photo matching can be done on a broader scale, and so it certainly helps with these type of pieces. Through the research that's been done, we know that Ruth wore 3 different gray road Yankees jerseys through 1932 and 1933. And so through a process of elimination based on the button patterns and how those interact with the New York on the chest, it can't be the 2 others. So this is it. This is the example that he was wearing in the called shot game.
That is just so cool. So, I mean, other than maybe Babe himself, there's very few things in his career that I think are more significant. You know, I mean, you could have, I guess, the home run ball that he gave to the boy in the hospital. You know, but I mean, we're talking, I mean, Babe Bleeping Ruth, and his most famous moment. I mean, this is the Paul Bunyan of American sports, and that's and this is his you know, it was the topper on his cake.
Yeah.
I tend to believe that it was part of Smack Talk because there was a lot of ribbing going back on. But I believe part of the Smack Talk was him calling the shot. I think it was the ultimate, you know what I'm going to do to you? Check this out.
Right.
So I believe there's truth in in some of all these versions. And so I personally believe it was called. And that's after years of extensive fandom.
Yeah.
I've put that together.
I suspect that's the case as well. I mean, it's usually somewhere in between, right? And if these, what we do know is that it was a contentious series. We do know he was definitely talking to the Cubs bench, and that's the type of thing when you're talking and you're up at bat. As the story goes, Ruth said, "There's still one left. I still got one pitch left," and that's when he hit his home run. That actually was his final World Series home run of his career as well.
As much as you can peel back the curtain, how does Heritage end up with an item like this? And if you're a seller and you're evaluating what to do with an item like this, what makes you pick a Heritage?
Well, you know, I think it's a combination of a lot of factors. You know, we've been doing this a long time. Heritage has been doing collectibles auctions for going on 50 years now. I've run the sports department here for 20 years now. We've built an incredible team with incredible experts, some of the most knowledgeable people in the hobby. And that's about building relationships with our clients, both on the consignment side and on the bidding side. I mean, we work these pieces. We are here on auction week. We are here on auction night. We're talking to our clients. We're putting people into these type of items. So I just think it's the way that we promote. Auctions are also all about eyeballs. It's bringing qualified bidders to the table. It's getting worldwide press, and it's vetting those bidders. And, you know, it's keeping those relationships. So all of those things come together to allow us to create these incredible auctions. And it's trust from the bidders as well, trusting that they know that we run legitimate auctions, and that we are, you know, we have a long-term perspective for what we do, for our business, and for this entire industry. I mean, this is this auction that we have coming up now. The Babe Ruth called shot jersey is the centerpiece of the auction, but the rest of the auction, this is going to be an industry changing auction. We've got
what else are some of the highlights?
So something that hasn't been announced yet, I'll give you an exclusive. This is we've got a 1952 Mickey Mantle game worn jersey.
Wow.
Road jersey. I believe it's the earliest all original game worn Mickey Mantle jersey, and it appears to be a photo match to Game 7 of the 1952 World Series of Mantle wearing the jersey in the locker room.
Oh my goodness, Chris. Well, I guess that answers people trusting Heritage. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to have you on for another episode now to talk about the Mantle jersey. You still with me?
Seems to have lost Danny here.
Did I lose you here? We'll come right back. Can I reconnect with you, Chris? You hear me? Well, we're going to reconnect with him in 1 second. Looks like they lost him over at Heritage. What I was going to ask him about was this 52 jersey that he just broke on the show. Absolutely incredible that there would be a 1952 Mickey Mantle World Series Game 7 jersey available. I'm just fanboying over the 52 Mantle jersey right now.
All right, I'm back. Did you lose me there?
Just for a second, but I wanted. I heard the 52 Mantle jersey, and I was kind of like I said, going a little nuts over that. That's exciting.
It is, and that's just again that's a fun one. That's going to be an incredible piece. We've also got a 1951 Jackie Robinson game worn jersey. We've got a 1937 Lou Gehrig game worn jersey, and a DiMaggio that just came in as well. So we're going to have just some incredible Yankees material, incredible Hall of Fame material. It's going to be a fun auction. We're all going to have it all at the National Sports Collectors Convention this year in Cleveland. And
you always have a fantastic booth, by the way. If people, haven't been to the National and you're going for the first time this year, definitely stop by the Heritage booth. Do not be intimidated by all the security. That just shows you how cool their stuff is. And if you've been to the National, you have definitely stopped by the Heritage booth before, because everybody does.
Yeah, we're gonna have it all there. We're gonna bring the whole circus on the road, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I would say the same. Definitely come by and visit us, say hello, and take a look at this traveling museum.
So you've mentioned a lot of jerseys. Game worn is clearly a lot of influential people are talking about it right now. It's definitely trending. I think that market is one of the fastest growing segments in the hobby right now, without a doubt. I think one of the things that people don't realize is how few jerseys were issued to players back in the day. You made the comment that Ruth only had 3 road jerseys over a 2-year period. Was that correct?
Correct. Yep.
I mean, that's unheard of now. Guys wear that many, in 2 games.
That's right.
So do you see, I know supply and demand always affects markets and value, but is that one of the biggest factors? Is it the connection to the player? Is it all of the above?
Well, yes, back in, I would say pre-80s, really, and even in the 80s, players were issued 4 jerseys a season, 2 road and 2 home, which they would alternate. And so when they were they'd wear one on the road, the equipment manager would take it, start washing it. They wear the second one, and then they would switch it out, right? And then oftentimes, there were 4 examples to begin, and then they would just send them either to the minor leagues or use them in spring training. Basically, use those jerseys in practice until they were rags, and then toss them away. They had no intrinsic value, so a lot of this stuff just wasn't saved. What we've got today, what we're left with is just a few examples of each. We just sold a Walter Johnson jersey for $2 million. It's one of only 2 Walter Johnsons known, and the only one in public hands, because the other example known is in the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So, there's very few examples known. The good side of that is that of the few examples that are known, they wore them so often that chances are they've done something pretty incredible in the ones that remain.
That's
right?
A great point.
Right. Yeah. If you get a Babe Ruth game worn jersey, he hit a home run. He hit many home runs in that jersey. He had to have, right?
Very fair.
And so,
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, we also just sold a Sandy Koufax 1955 rookie jersey.
Here's my Koufax player collection in the case.
I love it. it. And Koufax started his career. The first time he pitched in a major league game, he was on the road in Milwaukee, I believe. So the one we sold, even though it wasn't photo matched to Koufax's professional debut, because we had no photography from that event, odds are 50-50 that's the jersey he was wearing when he threw his first pitch in the majors.
That's wild. So real quick, I want to give a shout out to the Babe Ruth Museum. We talked about him being the Paul Bunyan of baseball, if not sports. Babe Ruth Museum and Birthplace in Baltimore. Anybody who watches this show knows I'm from Baltimore, because I'm a total Baltimore hometown, geek. They're a museum. They're a nonprofit. They need help, just like every museum and nonprofit. It's a great charitable deduction. Make a donation to the Babe Ruth Museum and Birthplace. Go to their website. If you can't afford the jersey, maybe you can get your name on a plaque at the museum. And if you come to Baltimore, definitely check it out. I just wanted to make sure we threw that in there and shout them out. You talk about pricing. I know you're never going to tell me exactly what you think it's going to sell for, but expecting to break the record.
We definitely believe it's going to break the record. Yeah, the current record's 12.6 million that we set
for
in
the mantle?
2022 for the mantle card, and then for memorabilia, I think it's 10.1 million for a
Maradona.
yeah, for the Jordan
Oh, that's right.
Last Dance jersey. But yeah, we believe that this is going to shatter those, and based on the preliminary interest we've already received, I'm pretty confident that that's going to be the case.
First of all, I think it should blow away the record, if that's not obvious. What are the chances pre-auction? Is there a line in the sand where a private buyer can no longer get involved, and it's definitely going to auction? Or if a private buyer came in and said, "I'm offering $1 billion," would a sale be closed? Is when you run an auction, is there a magic date in general?
So we never. I mean, the drop dead would be when the auction launches. We're not going to pull something out of auction that's already, when the auction's already open for bidding.
Sure.
And we rarely have ever pulled anything out from an auction once it's announced, but it is a collaboration with the consignor. So there are some things we do need to consider there. If someone just made an offer that had to be considered, but it's also, you want to have the piece, allow it to have its day in the sun, so to speak, because if there's someone out there willing to make that offer, there may be someone else out there who hasn't shown their cards yet that's willing to pay that much, if not more. And that's the beauty of the auction process, is that flushes everybody out that worldwide that is interested in this type of thing, and ultimately competing to bring it home.
That's so cool. There are a lot of auction houses right now that I see that are looking for items to consign. You guys have a tremendous network of people. How many different methods do you have of actually contact? I mean, you do shows, you have a database, you have repeat customers. I mean, you have a very large network. Explain, stuff comes in from everywhere, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah. I mean, and that's important, right? You want fresh material. You want material that's never been seen before or hasn't been seen at auction in 20 years. You also want, you bring in material that you've sold previously. I'd say, maybe 10% of our catalog auctions are material that we've sold at auction previously. I'd say probably up to 40% are material that have sold at other auctions in the last 20 years. And then, we always want to have like 50% of what's considered to be fresh material. And one of the great ways we're able to bring fresh material is through their cards that come in. We have the greatest card team in the industry that process raw, ungraded material.
You're not talking about Derek or Jason, are you?
Exactly. Yeah. They're wonderful at their jobs, and they work with a lot of clients from around the world that have either collected this material or come to acquire it. And our goal is, that's the beauty of the auction process, is our goal is the same as theirs, is to maximize the value of this material, because we're on the same side of the table, and we're just trying to get the most for it.
Not counting this auction, because I'm not going to put you in the position to do your job. What's the coolest item that you've seen over the last couple of years that really made you say, this job is worth it?
Well, I mean, this auction, the Ruth and the Mantle jerseys are just incredible, right?
Next level.
That is next level stuff. I think before that, my favorite piece that we handled is similar to the Ruth, in that I feel like it's a piece of American pop culture that could rightfully belong in any museum, including the Smithsonian. And that was Jackie Robinson's 1947 Brooklyn Dodgers jersey that he actually photo matched to Jackie Robinson Day in 1947. I just absolutely love that piece. I think it's incredible. It's on display right now at the Jackie Robinson Museum. The winning bidder from our auction has loaned it to the Jackie Robinson Museum in New York City. It's just an incredible piece, and so yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things we've offered. But that's that's one of the great things. I mean, it's one of my favorite things about this. I mean, it's working with clients, it's helping them build these collections, but also like I can't afford any of this stuff really, but to be able to work with it and to market it to our clients and to find a new home for it and new homes where I know it's going to be well kept and well cared for is very fulfilling, and it's a lot of fun.
I think it speaks to the quality of what you do when you mention how many pieces come and go in museums that you're involved with. I mean, you talk about museum quality, and these are literally museum quality pieces, far and above. So I think that speaks to heritage. I'm obviously friends with people over there, and you guys do just a first class operation. So I appreciate you coming on today, Chris.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Danny.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I give the details for the auction so people can follow along.
Yeah, so this is everything we've talked about here is going to be part of our Summer Platinum Night Sports Auction. It's going to be a blockbuster event. We are accepting consignments for about another 4 weeks until the end of June. And then the auction is going to launch about 4 weeks after that. It's going to launch around July 20th. And we're going to be open for a little bit over a month. And it's closing August 23rd, 24th, and 25th. In that period, we're going to be taking it all around. We're going to go to the National Sports Collectors Convention, as I mentioned. We're also going to do previews and exhibits at our New York office and our Palm Beach offices. So, and here in Dallas as well. So, you know, I hope to see a lot of our clients and a lot of your people that are watching or listening today can find a time to come out and take a look and join us.
I think there's no doubt you guys will be the star of the show. Chris Ivey, Director of Heritage Sports, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. To everybody else, appreciate you watching another episode, and we'll see you next time on hobbynewsdaily.com. Chris, I'll see you in the green room. Take care.
Sounds good.